Hey everybody, welcome back to another review with me. I am your host Maxine and we are reviewing Love is Blind season 10, the reunion episode, okay? Where do I begin? This was an hour and 32 minutes. I was thoroughly entertained. This was a very good reunion for a number of reasons. It was jam-packed with all of the juiciness that took place this season. I feel like the hosts, Nick Lachey and Vanessa, but definitely Nick, they really asked the hard-hitting questions. They didn't leave any stone unturned. I love the vitriol, but I even felt bad for Chris a little bit. Not to say, I know, I'm just a sucker. I'm a sucker. That's what it is. I'm a sucker. Take that back. I'm not a sucker ass nigga. No. But I felt like, wow, there was strong vitriol against Chris. Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. But I'm making the point clear that wow, I didn't expect for it to be this harsh. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I want to start off with the very first important point that I noticed. Devo? Devo. Who the hell is Devo? Your name is Devontae. Now he's Devo. Devo, whatever it was, that's the nickname of Devontae, and that was the name that we see Bree, Ashley, and Priyanka give him or address him as. So I'm like, where did this close knit friendship come from? Bree, and I feel so bad for Connor. I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but she needs to go. She needs to go. And I feel bad that Connor is just a cuck. He's a cuck. Anyway, let's get into it, y'all. Go ahead and like the video already. Just like it already. Go ahead, click that thumbs up button. Like it already. Subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's get into it. One thing I do want to criticize, among the things that I want to criticize for this reunion, I notice it to be a pattern every reunion episode. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about the past couples. Okay? I don't care for them to give a shout out and the camera time and an update segment on previous married couples from seasons past. I don't care. Once they leave my screen, I am not following you. I'm not following you. Why are we getting updates? I don't give a damn about these past couples. I really don't, okay? I'm here to focus on Love is Blind Ohio, the people in the pods, the people who made it out the pods, the pod squad. That is it, and that is all. All right. So we also have these segments led by Gigi from season 1, which I actually never seen season 1. And I don't plan to go back and check it out, even though people say it's so good. I don't give a damn. But I'm familiar with the people from the cast as far as like I've heard of them. So Gigi from season 1 and AD, AD with her own podcast, What's the Reality, and her being with that UK guy from Love is Blind UK. They're leading these like mini podcast moments throughout the audience. And it's just like, can they sit down? I'm tired of AD being like the poster child of Love is Blind now. Like, ever since her season, I've been seeing her more and more. And that's because of her podcast that she has. That clearly is supported by Netflix and Love is Blind. Like, she is paid by them, clearly. But I'm just tired of seeing her on my screen and her stupid smile. I think she's annoying. Okay, so we start off with Vic and Christine. And it's great to see that their love story was actually genuine. Some people were saying that it's giving actors, right? It's giving SAG award. It's giving we rehearse our lines. But no, I guess we're just not used to genuine love coming by often. But it's really nice to see them still together and just genuinely happy with each other. And I hope they continue to progress. So that's great. Okay, we're gonna move on. We jump into, oh Lord, this Jordan and what's her name? Jordan and this girl, this white girl. Okay, Amber. Yes, Amber. We got to Jordan and Amber, y'all. Their marriage lasted for 4 months. I think that was still longer than Kim Kardashian's marriage, right? Remember, she was married for 72 days, 4 months. Is that around the same time or a little bit longer? Nonetheless, they did not last. And are we surprised? Are we surprised? But here's what I love about this segment, okay? Jordan made it clear. He made it abundantly clear. I'm not putting up with your shit, okay? He explained to us that as he's been with Amber, he's had to pay for the sins of her past boyfriends. You know, Amber has frequently talked about being in terrible relationships and how she hates men. And basically, she came into this, and she said it herself, and other people have said this about her. The other girls has said that she claims to be like she's a man hater. She's a proud man hater. And I feel like you are not ready to love. I know it's not the right show, right? But if you're in Love is Blind, clearly you think you're ready to love. You're ready to love others and be loved and ready for marriage and all of that. But if you come on and you are still a man hater, you are still healing from past heartbreaks, then you are not ready to love. You are not ready for Love is Blind. You're not. You're not. And it shows. Jordan tells us that they've had, or she's had, one too many outbursts and just temper tantrums, basically. Okay, the irony here, she has a 7-year-old, but she's a 7-year-old. Okay, a 7-year-old having a 7-year-old. How funny is that? But Jordan is saying how she has been disrespectful. Her argumentative nature is beyond disrespectful. She's just emotionally immature, just plain and simple. And he's not tolerating it. It's done. Like, he's not doing it. And he's giving her enough chances. Her argument is, it felt like you wasn't even trying to give me a chance to change. I know that I can be harsh with my words or my behavior, but doing that whole BS. You didn't fight for me though. You didn't, doing that whole thing, right? He's like, you never made any steps to get better. Can we start there? You never made any steps to get better. She's like, couldn't even defend herself. But what I love here is Jordan articulated himself so well. He didn't call her out her name. He didn't, he just wasn't a douchebag. He just made it, he had his boundary and she has crossed it more than once. And he said, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And he is within his right to do so. And I'm happy to see. And I hope he doesn't get blamed for being a red pill type of, I don't know. But you know how sometimes when you have a man who stands up to women, people are saying, oh, you're a red pill, or, oh, you ain't shit, just like talking down to him. And it's like, no, in this case here, Jordan is a grown man, despite, people want to give him a hard time of how his home looks, but bitch, that ain't got shit to do with anything, okay? You're rude, and I am not putting up with this anymore. So, he broke it off. He broke it off after 4 months, and they kind of go back and forth about this whole, you didn't come to see me enough. He spent, I guess they didn't live together still. Yeah, they never lived together. They saw each other on the weekends, and she just felt like he wanted her to be prim and ready for him whenever they go out on the weekends. And she felt like, I want my husband to be at home with me. I want, all these things. And sure, I can understand that. But Honestly, they should have never gotten married in the first place. Let's just start there. They never came to an agreement on where they wanted to live. She was adamant about staying where she was because of the school that her daughter is in the neighborhood, and it makes more sense. And he was adamant about wanting to stay in downtown. And I don't fault him for it. I don't feel like he's a immature guy or an undeveloped man because he doesn't want to live in the suburbs. Like, what? So, yeah, he broke it off. He joked to her and said, you know, I can't do this shit no more. I can't do this shit no more. And now what Amber does, she pulls this whole, you did it to my daughter though. You did it. How could you do this to my daughter? How could you, Amber? How could you do this to your daughter? You should have never been on the show. Okay? You should have never been on the show. Your daughter, enough. We should not allow single parents to come on this show. I don't care how old your kid is. No, I don't care. Nope. Men and women. So she's weaponizing that on him. And he's like, I'm not going to stay in a toxic relationship and be treated this poorly. Just because you have a kid. Like, let's not do that. Let's not use the kid as bait to stay. I loved your kid. She was sweet, great girl. I had fun. And he was like specific on the reasons why he enjoyed her daughter. Like, he loved the games that they would play and the conversation that, like, they grew a bond. But he's, just like I said, he's within his right to feel the way he feels. He's within his right to be like, yeah, kid or not, bitch, I'm done. Kid or not, I'm done with you and your 7-year-old. I want no parts. So Amber did a whole temper tantrum. She jumps up and be like, you shouldn't have done this to my kid if you wasn't going to be serious. Like, girl, are you okay? Girl. And here's the thing. Here's why Amber is still bad. Because clearly she has said to us she's been in relationships before. Multiple relationships in which she claims she has been victimized by these men. These men were horrible, yada, yada, yada. And you have this example of her being an asshole, right? Her being someone who can't regulate her emotions properly. And I feel like she probably was the common denominator as to why her previous relationships ended the way that they did. And for this marriage to end the way that it did, it just tells me more about Amber than it does about Jordan. So anyway, God bless. Let's jump into our next important segment here. So we get to, which one? Let's see. Okay, so we get to the whole Jess and oh, no. Before we get to that, let's talk about Tyler and Kia, who I feel like Netflix is going to push them to have a podcast too and do this whole, I'm happy to be single and a Black woman, and I'm happy I chose myself. Kia went on this whole diatribe about, I've learned so much about self-love. And I felt like she was making things up as she was going. And you could tell Vanessa Lachey wanted to, because she didn't cut her. Well, she was like, yeah. Like, she was trying to speak. And I felt like she was gesturing for her to stop talking. Like, okay, girl, wrap this shit up. I feel like Tyler and Kia are the prime example of why Black women are single. Let me not say that. No, but why there are some Black women who will just insufferably be single. And that's because they will choose themselves every time. You came on this show to choose yourself? What? I thought you came on the show to meet someone, build a connection, and build towards marriage. Okay, and they're just going on about I choose myself, I chose myself. I wish we would have had a set. And instead of us focusing on these corny ass past couples from previous season that I don't give a damn about because the season is over, your time is up. I would have appreciated if we focused this reunion on what took place in the pods, outside the pods, at the honeymoon, in the apartments, at the whole cast gatherings. It would have been nice if Tyler and Kia were on the stage, and that guy, what's his name, Kevin, and if Kevin was on the stage too, and they would have had a conversation. It would have been nice if Nick and Vanessa would have asked probing questions to them. You know, instead we get this whole segment of Kia and Tyler talking about I choose myself. Girl, what? You better choose yourself in your bed. You better just stay. It's so silly, and I hate this representation. I really do. I want more black women to choose the man. I do. Choose the relationship. Choose the man. Okay, so now Gigi's walking around asking Cam how's fatherhood. Again, why are we talking to these past guests? Or not guests, but castmates. Ooh, okay, so we get to this part here in which Amber again is showing her ass. She walks off, right? She comes back. She doesn't even apologize to the stage and says, you know what? I recognize that I have to work on my emotional, regulation. And I want to apologize to everyone here. I feel like she could have humbly returned to the stage. But instead, she just returned to the stage, and then she starts talking to Chris. You ain't shit. You a piece of shit. And you're a douchebag. She's just showing her immaturity. And then she clarifies and says how she doesn't think Jordan is a douchebag. Not like Chris. He's not a douchebag like Chris. So this just further proves to me that Amber is someone who only sees the blame in the men rather than taking any accountability, going into any reflection. She only sees the blame in men. So we jump into this segment. Hold on. I can't think right there. Okay, no. I want to go in order. So let's, okay. So we learned that, let's see. No, I think we do jump into the segment. Yeah. Okay. So it's Chris's turn now, right? Chris's turn. But first we get into the Chris, putting the moves on Bree, and Bree is saying how she does feel like she didn't give her best version of herself while on the show, and that is the reason why she broke things off with Connor. She does apologize for for like not leaving the conversation soon enough with Chris. Instead, she entertained him more than she should have, or period, right? She should have never entertained him, period. But she shows some humility here, which, okay, I'll give her some credit there. Chris looks broken, y'all. And I felt like, okay, I know we beating him down. I get it. He should have never spoken to Jess the way he did, spoken about Jess the way he did. I get it. But my God, today, I thought this was kind of harsh. I know, I'm a sucker. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably the only one here. Never mind. Let me keep it just to myself, right? But seriously, Chris looked like he was broken. Okay? He did apologize, though. And I felt like I thought he was genuine. I'm a sucker. Is it me? I'm a sucker. Look, he grew his hair out. That means he's genuine now. Okay, so we get to the part with Jess, right? Jess responds. She's talking about she can't even look at him. She doesn't even say his name. He doesn't deserve any more speech from her. doing his whole thing, right? And it's just, girl, calm down. I don't know. I just feel like calm down. Did he call you out your name? Did he say you're morbidly obese? Obese? All he said was, which wasn't cool either, but let's look into it prospectively, right? All he said was, I usually go for women who does CrossFit and Pilates. That's what he said. He didn't say, you're fat as fuck, you're ugly, you're not my type. Even you're not my type part shouldn't be an issue. But he didn't say those other things. All he said was, I go for women who does CrossFit, who does crawfish, eat crawfish. No, but I go for women who does CrossFit. That's what he said. Okay? He didn't degrade her. Am I missing something here? Anyway, he's getting chewed up, yo. He's getting chewed up, chopped and screwed, the whole nine, all the verbs. He apologizes. And I kind of want to jump into this other scene real quick because we learned that Jess is actually in a relationship now, which cool, bet. We see him in the audience, and apparently he was one of the pod guys. And mind you, I don't think he was shown. Was he shown in the season at all? But they connected. They did connect in the pods. That's what Jess said. But of course, she chose Chris. Anyway, after the pods or after the show ended, he's trying to, like, he's connecting with her, like he's reaching out to her, and she's not, I don't think she was even aware of him trying to shoot his shot, because she's talking to him like, you know, like some friend stuff, right? Like on some friend tip. And finally, he presents himself accordingly and says, look, I'm interested in you. I want you. Yada, yada, yada. Cool. I like a man who is clear and direct. That's great. But then he goes on this whole performative ass speech, y'all. And I was lost there. I was lost. I was like, okay. He's like, you deserve your flowers to be given. And he's just saying how she's so hot. Girl, look, I don't think Jess is an ugly woman, right? I don't think she's unattractive. Not at all. But I feel like he was purposely trying to make her appear hotter than she is. Just because of what Chris said about how he does not date women who doesn't do CrossFit. Okay? I'm not saying, but when you think of Jess, when you look at Jess, you don't think hot. Hello? Am I missing something? When you look at Ashley, you see hot. When you look at Brittany, you see hot. But some women don't give off that, ooh, damn, you hot. But like that whole sex appeal just doesn't give that. And that's okay. Some women give that whole girl next door, girlfriend aesthetic, but hot is reserved for someone who oozes sex appeal. Ashley does that. Brittany does that sometimes, but definitely Ashley, she's in the lead for that. Okay, not Jess. Not the neurosurgeon Jess, whatever doctor she is. Like, you think of a doctor, you don't think hot. You don't think hot. That's it. Okay? And going back to Chris real quick, Chris, he says, okay, look, he went about it poorly, right? He should have just said they didn't have physical chemistry, and that should have been enough, right? He didn't need to be descriptive and say, I usually go for women who does CrossFit. He didn't have to do all of that. But even though he did all of that, I feel like it wasn't that serious for this type of vitriol against him in this reunion. I didn't think it was that serious. I really did not. Especially later on, we see how Devo, he kind of get his ass chewed up a little bit, but it wasn't to the extreme of how Chris got his ass chewed up. But I thought it was weird that Brittany's dad was there and said, how are you? Because I see everyone's destroying you right now. How are you? Like, Brittany's dad, why are you on this damn... Like, again, I get these are like kind of supporting characters because we seen him in an episode or two. I get that. But I just want to focus on the people in the show who decided to sign up to get married. Not on their family members, not on past couples, not on any of them. So Anyway, what's his name? Jess's Indian lover. Because what? Jess's Punjabi lover talking about. I can't see this going. What are we talking about? Hello? Can we keep it a bean? What are we talking about? He doesn't give me. But look, some women nowadays like more of a non-manly man. Let's just go there. Anyway, he does this whole performative ass speech, and I felt like it was so cringe. But hey, I'm happy you found love, whatever this is. So Brie and Connor, we learned that they are still together. They are still together. They didn't get married, as we know, but they're still in a relationship. Connor actually moved next door to her, so they're much closer now. I forget what was the initial distance, though. But nonetheless, they're together, right? Which, okay, great, I guess. But I just feel like Connor, he lacks self-confidence. I know in the moment he does address Chris, or like he talks about the situation, and he is saying, his disappointment and yada yada yada. But I just felt like, why couldn't he have that same energy for Burrito? Why can't he hold her accountable and be like, you've been moving funny towards me. I didn't like that. So anyway, let's jump into it. I already talked about Jess and Chris. Let's talk about another major point here. Okay, I talked about the Punjabi guy. I'm not trying to be offensive, y'all. I'm just saying. Anyway, Mike and Emma, we know that they did not get married. Mike's girlfriend is on the show. Well, in this episode, she's just in the background. And he's in a new relationship. It's funny because Emma, it was all in her face that she was insulted or maybe offended or just hurt. She probably felt embarrassed that, damn, you already moved on. You already got a girlfriend. And I want to say, no, they're not engaged. No. But nonetheless, he has a girlfriend. He's talking highly about her. And they look good together. They look good. They look like, okay, she should have been on the show, right? She should have been the one he got married to. Mike tells us that he was shocked that Emma even said yes, because they had a conversation just a day ago. They had a conversation just a day ago talking about they're going to decide to say no. Vanessa had to come on and be like, it's not encouraged. We do not want you guys to come to a decision before the show. But what's funny, when Vanessa, like, we hear Vanessa saying this, but we don't see her saying this. So I wonder if Vanessa had to say it like post-production. Something that I just think is interesting, how they like film stuff. But I feel like she didn't say that in the live moment. I think they had to say that outside of the moment. Anyway, Mike is saying how he's shocked. He's shocked that she said yes. And that explains why it was strange how she even said yes, right? She started off with this long speech, and then she's like, I can't see my life without you. And it just gave, like, what are we doing here? It was a little scary, because what do you mean we came to a conclusion? We both agreed that we will both say no, spare ourselves, and just let each other know in advance that we're going to say no, okay? But she switches up on him. So he was genuinely shocked. But he said he couldn't go through with it. And I felt like, did Emma say no? No, did Emma say yes because she wanted Mike to look like the bad guy? Right? Oh, Mike is this bad guy. He's saying no to this Asian girl with a scarred arm. Like, I don't know. What was her motive here? Why did he say why did she say yes when they clearly came to a conclusion, just like he said, and she agreed upon it? So she's not lying in this reunion like, no, we never did, whatever. And he says how, if you could just easily switch up on me like that, I don't know if I can trust that you won't switch up on me later. And she's saying, well, I said yes because I said yes as a declaration that yes, I do want to have kiss with you. Like, girl, you up and down, up and down. What are we talking about? Just yesterday, you talking about, yeah, let's agree to say no. And then you switch up on me. I think she's a little off. I think she needs help. She should have never been on the show. But apparently, allegedly, she has a familial connection on the show, and that was able to push her to get casted and be on the trips. Oh, talking about the trips, Nick and Vanessa decided to clear up why Christine and Vic did not join the rest of the couples. She's saying how, yeah, we usually send 6, not 7 couples. And like, what are we talking about? You usually send 6, not 7. Y'all couldn't figure out the budget? Huh? I don't know. That was a silly explanation. So we get to Ashley and Alex. Now, Alex is super defensive. Real side note, okay? These twin black women that's in the audience, enough. I was seeing them too much. They should not have had first row seats. At first, I'm thinking, were they on the show and I just don't remember? Y'all know who I'm talking about? These they look like twin girls. They look like twins. But yeah, definitely they have to be sisters. Anyway, we get to Ashley and Alex, okay? Ashley is, again, standing strong that, she's not dealing with the liar, yada, yada, yada. Alex is saying she has some trauma from past relationships. And because she's been cheated on and because she's been lied to, she's trying to catch me in a lie, right? She's trying to pin me to the corner. And look, at one point I was like, dang, Alex, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think I'm agreeing with you, Alex. I could see that to be true. Now, I think 2 things could be true here. I really do. I feel like Alex definitely omits information, and whether he does it with the intent to be evil or deceptive, I think he does it he just does it, right? He just feels like, okay, this information is not necessary. I'm not going to share it, right? But in Ashley's perspective, she immediately sees that to be deceptive, right? Sinister. So she's going to accuse him of evil, right? Like, she's going to immediately not, shoot him to the corner. She's not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think there's something there that she could definitely take accountability for. I do. I think Ashley definitely still suffers from past heartbreaks and is making this current relationship, or at the time current, pay for the sins of lovers past, just like with Jordan and Amber. So that's what I think is happening here. Alex is being a bit defensive, and he's hard to talk to. I feel like he's someone who you just gotta be like, okay, you got it. Okay, you got it, bet. You just gotta do that. Like, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not going back and forth with you. The way he communicates is so weird. So we get to this brief segment of Devo, aka Devontae, and Alex playing soccer. Like, what? Who is writing how the reunion should be? Because I just want a reunion of the pods, in and out of the pod people. That's it. So we get this segment of them playing soccer, and Alex is not a good soccer player. How is this football player, Devo, how is he dominating him in this one-on-one game of soccer, yet Alex is allegedly this pro soccer player? No wonder he's a failed pro soccer player. No wonder. Whoop-de-doo. Okay? So Devo is just hitting the goals. And in one moment, you see Alex in the shot talking about, I should have got that. You should have. You talking all this talk about being a soccer player. You're not a good one. You shouldn't be a soccer coach to the little leagues. You shouldn't even be a soccer coach. So we also learned that he and Devo are roommates now. What? I'm not even gonna go into that because what are we doing? But later on, keep that in mind, right? Later on, we learned that Devo is actually expecting a child. And not only is he expecting a child, he is engaged to the woman, right? The child's mother. Yet you're rooming with what? Like, which one is it? Okay. I wish we would have gotten into that, but that was a little weird moment. Okay, so we jump into this scene, y'all. Brittany and Devo. Brittany is saying after... Well, who broke up with who, though, exactly? I forget. But nonetheless, Brittany says how after seeing the clips of... after the show, she sees more clips of how Devo just... he was just shooting at her. Like, you're my shadow. I can't stand this. I mean, he didn't say that part. But he did say, you're my shadow. And how, yeah, he just didn't like her, basically. She said how she told him from the pods that she been bought her wedding dress. And maybe she did. I forgot. But let's say, I believe her, whatever. She told him. I feel like regardless, though, Devo is someone who he just didn't like her. He doesn't like her. He wasn't attracted to her. And that was it. He likes white women. As beautiful as Brittany is, she is not a white woman. She's a woman of color, like he said, right? She's a woman of color. He doesn't identify as a man of color, but he likes white women. And I think anything that Brittany could have done for him to, like, he just would have used any excuse is what I'm saying. So this whole excuse of, well, he didn't like that she already bought a wedding dress because that means she just would have married anybody. Yeah. that does mean that because I pre-bought this. I said I'm ready for marriage and I'm ready to move forward in my relationships. Yeah. But why are you offended? Why are you offended? I picked you though. Like, why are you upset? Brittany is going, she's talking about that. She mentions this whole trip, right? She mentions this whole trip that he was on with Priyanka, who, again, if I hear her name one more time, yet she's in the audience, right? Like, again, they should have set this reunion up where Priyanka comes out onto the stage and Tyler, Kia, and Kevin come out onto the stage. It should have been set up like that. But nonetheless, we learned that Priyanka, Ashley, and Bree went on this girls' trip with Devo, aka Devontae. And it's like, wait, what? You went on a girls' trip? Why? Oh, we both love this artist named Rufus. I don't know who he is or she, whomever, but it's typically a man name, but nowadays. Nonetheless, they're talking about that and how Brittany, she wasn't notified about this. None of the girls reached out to her. Ashley kind of says, I'm sorry. Yeah, we should have said something. But throughout this episode, right, throughout this reunion, you know how a lot of these girls be like, oh, this is a sisterhood. They're all my best friends. We're best of friends. No, we're not. And let's keep that a bean. You see Priyanka in the background saying, no, we're not close. Like, me and Brittany, we're not close. But clearly, Brittany or Bree, Ashley, and Priyanka, they've been close since that scene of them talking to Chris when Chris was talking poorly about Jess. Okay, so I just feel like they are these women who I know I hate to say the word pick-me's. It's giving pick-me energy, right? They want that attention from men, yet they should not be entertaining these men because these men are trash, right? Chris is a pile of garbage and Devontae isn't any better. So for them to, go on and on, talk about this whole reunion episode talking about girl code or sisterhood, they're not women who actually mean that. And I'm not even big on sisterhood. Let me stop saying. But no, I'm not big on this whole girl code, guy code BS. I'm not. I think it's so silly. Be loyal to people who are loyal to you. Or just have common decency or courtesy. But this whole like, oh, just because you're a girl and I'm a girl, I'm supposed to have loyalty to you. Nah. Who said that? Who said that? But anyway, nonetheless, because they have been on the show talking about girl code, I feel like the least you could do is abide by that, right? The least you could do. So anyway, Brittany calls him out on it, and I'm glad she did. Bree's in the background talking about, oh, am I supposed to get permission? Am I supposed to get permission? Girl, you're missing the point. You're being purposely obtuse here. And then she had the nerve to point out that me and Connor, we're good. We're good. Like this little thing that you trying to say, you know, about me somehow being deceptive or sneaky, it's not affecting my relationship with Connor. And it's not going to, because Connor's a cock. And I hate to say it, Connor, but you are. And I wish you would grow some balls. But anyway, we kind of wrap this up with Brittany's dad talking to Devo, talking about, how are you? I have a question. I have a couple of questions. And he started to ask 4 more questions, though. Y'all notice that? He kept asking question after question. Like, okay, Brittany's dad, I'm going to need you to wrap it up. You are in the back of the line here. Stop. But he's like, did you lie to me? Did you lie to me? Like, okay, and if he did, what were you going to do, Brittany's dad? Were you going to come down to the stage and beat his ass? Like, we can't go back in the past. But Devo says how he thought he was ready for marriage at the time, but he realized he's not. Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, that is it, and that is all, y'all. That is the reunion. Overall, I do feel like it was an entertaining one. I want them to cut out unnecessary segments, like the whole we're gonna have a live performance at the end. I always tune out. I always like, okay, time to turn off my TV and go to bed. Okay, as soon as we saw Vanessa and Nick go into the stage, like go into the audience and sit down, and we see the lights cast for this performance, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. That's what I did. We gotta stop doing that. Just talk about the people in the pods, out the pods, and have those people on. That's it. And I don't care to have these like mini segments with AD, with what's the reality, whatever. And these past couples, like, oh, it's annoying. I only want to focus on this season. But anyway, that's it. Interesting season. It was definitely entertaining. Shout out to Vic and Christine. Now they could join the married couple lounge, right, that they were escorted towards. It's just so silly. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts down below. Like and share and subscribe. Bye.